Hey man, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's actually been 3 years since I upgraded my main system. I've been on first gen Ryzen since its launch, and to be honest with you, I actually like it. It's performed just fine. I do a little bit of video editing, a little bit of gaming, a little bit of streaming, and it's handled that with no problem. But today, I am finally gonna upgrade my system. Let me show you guys what I got. So the first thing that's getting upgraded is my CPU. This is the main star of the show here, the Ryzen 7 3700X. I am upgrading from a Ryzen 7 1700. And I know some of you guys are probably gonna be saying like, Jerry, why didn't you upgrade to like a Ryzen 5000 series CPU? Really the answer to that is number one, don't got $450. That's the main thing. And second off, I have to upgrade my motherboard. So I'm still on the X370 chipset. And so to run one of the 5000 series CPUs, I would have to buy a motherboard and a CPU. And when you really look at the motherboards that are available, or the ones that are at least equivalent to what I have now, I'd be looking at spending like at least 200 to 300 bucks for a motherboard. So 450 bucks for the CPU plus 200 to 300 for the motherboard as well. It's just a lot, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Too expensive for my blood right now, so I went with the highest chip that I think I should be able to throw into my X370 motherboard, which is the 3700X. To cool the 3700X, we've got this Dark Rock 4 from Be Quiet. Should be a pretty nice tower cooler. I don't think it'll have any issues keeping this thing cool, and I do plan to overclock it, so should fit the bill just fine. You guys that watch the channel know I am a fan of air coolers. I don't really like all that pump noise and all that other crap to worry about, the tubing and all that stuff. So air coolers are just right for me, and I think this will look pretty sleek as well in all black. The RAM I'm going to be carrying over from my previous build as well. It's just a 16 gigabyte G-Skill kit running at 3000 megahertz. If I can't get it to run at like 3200 or something like that, I'll probably pick up some MDI RAM. I think Crucial has a kit that runs at 3600 at cast latency of 16 or something like that. So that'll be something that I'll upgrade to in the future, but for now I'll just work with what I got. And now I'm upgrading to a 500 gigabyte drive for my main OS, and then a 480 gigabyte drive for my scratch disk. All you guys that do video editing know what that's all about. So got a nice little upgrade there. I'm not picking up a M.2 drive just yet because I honestly want a 2 terabyte one, but they're not really where I want them to be price-wise. So for now, I have a 2 terabyte mechanical drive that I'm going to be rocking with, but eventually I would like to replace that with a 2 terabyte M.2 drive. For the power supply, we've got this Be Quiet Straight Power 11. This is a 850 watt power supply, 80 plus platinum rated. It is definitely on the luxurious side of power supplies, fully modular, but I'm not complaining at all because Be Quiet sent this out to me along with the rest of the stuff, and should be pretty nice. Honestly, I thought it was kind of overkill at first, but with the drop of the new graphics cards that are coming out, you know, it's not seeming too bad. This may position me perfectly for a GPU upgrade, at least later on down the line. Sadly, we are not going to be upgrading the GPU this time, so I am still rocking with the RX 5600 XT, which honestly is a pretty good graphics card for a high refresh rate, 1080p gaming, and I am still rocking with a 1080p monitor, so it'll do me just fine for now. But hopefully, somebody will slide in my email and, you know what I'm saying, hook your boy up with a new next generation GPU. And the last thing we'll be upgrading to is this case. So this is the Be Quiet Pure Base 500DX. I've not actually built in this case before, so I don't know how it's going to be, but it is one of these cases that are more airflow focused from Be Quiet, which is new because typically they do build cases that are optimized for silence. But this one, you can see it does have a mesh grill on the front here. You can almost see through it pretty much. So it is definitely airflow focused. Hopefully we get some good temps with the case, and I'll let you guys know how it is in terms of building in it. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be the new PC build. Those are all the parts. So let's go ahead and get started with the build. 3700X is installed. We've got the Dark Rock 4 cooler on top. You guys can see it's got that nice stealthy look on it, and this big fan. I think this is like 140 millimeters, something like that. Should cool pretty nicely, I hope. And then we've got the G-SCO RAM there down at the bottom. 16 gigabytes of RAM total there. Again, I am going to try to clock this to 3200 megahertz if I can. If not, then we'll pick up some new sticks. But yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. Now, we just need to throw it into the case. Okay, so update time. Got the motherboard in the case. It's coming along pretty nicely. We've got the CPU cooler mounted, RAM is in there. We've got the rear fan. I did move the top one to the front here, so now we have two intake fans. I just thought it'd be a little bit better. We don't really need all that exhaust back there. So we've got 240 millimeter fans up front. Got a 140 millimeter fan on the CPU cooler, and then another 140 millimeter fan on the rear exhaust there. So I actually think that's going to be pretty nice. I do prefer 140 millimeter fans over 120 just because they usually move more air at a lower RPM, and so for silence it's a nice touch. But yeah, I think it's coming along pretty well, and I'm really digging the darkness with the white case. It's a very, very nice contrast, man. I know a lot of people like to throw white components in a white case, but honestly, I think this looks better. What's up, guys? It's actually the next day, but I have finally finished the build, as you guys can see. So let me just give you my closing thoughts on the build process. All right, so first off, we got the 3700X, which is cooled by this Dark Rock 4. As I was mentioning earlier, I went with the 3700X because it was basically the highest CPU that I could get while keeping my stock motherboard, because I am still on the X370 board. If I went with like a 3900X or something like that, I don't know, I may have issues with like the VRMs on the motherboard or something like that. So I felt like it was a nice, safe choice that would give me a big jump over my 1700, because I do, of course, game on this system, video edit, and stream. So I needed something that was basically capable of doing all things. For the GPU, we've got the RX 5600 XT. This is more of a placeholder for now. If you guys aren't familiar with this, this is basically equivalent to like an RTX 2060. Right now I am gaming at 1080p, 144 Hertz, so it does pretty well there, but I am ready to make the jump to 1440p, I'm not gonna lie. So NVIDIA, AMD, hey, if you're watching this, hey man, hook your boy up, bro, hook your boy up. And then we've got my 16 gigs of G-SCO RAM there. No RGB RAM this time, like half of YouTube. I actually did have some in there, but it wasn't compatible with my motherboard, so I couldn't sync it. So it was basically just running on the color cycling the whole time, the rainbow mode. So I decided to just go with these for the time being. Like I mentioned before, I'll probably pick up some different RAM down the line anyway, so not really a big deal there. And then you guys can see, as far as the case goes, we've got a 140mm fan at the back right there as an exhaust, which is not too loud so far. And then we've got two 140mm fans up front. I changed the one that was up top, and so I've got both fans right here at the front to give us some nice intake. And I really like with this case what they did in terms of focusing it with focusing on airflow, but then they gave you larger fans that you know, are a little bit bigger, so they'll run at a higher or a lower RPM and hopefully keep the noise down. And I do like that they gave you 3 as well. You can even fit 2 140mm fans up top there, so you can get plenty of airflow in terms of fans with this case, which is nice. It only supports a 240mm rad up top though, so if you are going to run an AIO and mount it up there, just be aware of that. It's 120 or 240. But yeah, this case overall, I do think is pretty solid. I like the features that it has. It's I think it's a pretty good entry-level case. It doesn't have like super premium materials or anything like that, but it gives you pretty much all of the features that you need. So for the average you know, PC builder out there, this is going to be more than enough for what you need. So if anyone's considering like whatever NZXT case everyone's buying right now, or like a Fantex P400 A or something like that, I would recommend also taking a look at this case because it might fit the bill for you. I will say though, the only thing I really don't like is the fact that this does not have rubber grommets. I'm not really a fan of these cutouts that have been going in cases lately. That's not a trend I'm a fan of. Rubber grommets looks way cleaner. So I do wish that this case had that, but as far as cable management goes, it's actually pretty solid. You know, if I didn't have this hard drive down here, I think it would look a lot cleaner. So that's just on me in terms of the components that I've chosen. But, you know, if you were just to have 2 SSDs back here and then maybe an M.2 up front, your cable management would be pretty simple and look a lot cleaner than mine. Oh, and I almost forgot to show you guys this. I'm going to be using this with my new system. It's an HDMI cable that has RGB lighting on it. This is from Vivify. It's an HDMI 2.0 B spec HDMI cable, and it's got a USB cable on the back of it that actually connects to your computer, and it allows you to sync with Razer Chroma, and there's also the Vivify has its own software. So if anyone is looking for an RGB HDMI cable, hey, take a look at this, man. But anyway, man, this is the build. I'm excited to start using it. Again, it's my first upgrade to my personal system in 3 years, so I'm excited to see the gains on it, and hopefully we can get a GPU upgrade shortly after this. So you guys let me know what you think about this PC build down in the comments below. Like this video if you guys like this type of content. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in the next video. I'm out of here. See ya!